A few weeks ago, we discussed your retirement accounts. Back when Trump introduced all the tariffs and the stock market was going down faster than it was going down rapidly. I'm not going to finish that. I got to remember who watches this.
Rapidly.
Very rapidly. And we had a discussion on it, and we told people, don't worry. Now's the time to invest and maybe move some of your money around from like a savings account to like something high risk. And I don't want to say that we're financial advisors because I think there might be some legal issues with that. But maybe something along the lines of like life coaches, maybe. Because if people had listened to us about a month ago, they would have done pretty well. The stock market is basically at an all-time high right now.
Do you have a dollar?
It has been a great.
Do you have a dollar amount though? Like how much were the stocks at the time when you made those recommendations?
I would say the NASDAQ, that's what most of our retirement account is in, is most of those are in the NASDAQ for us.
Yeah.
I would say the NASDAQ was at maybe 13,500, 14,000-ish at the bottom when we first started talking about this, right after the tariffs.
But I don't know about when we talked about it, but I mean, I remember when we were moving money around. It was
yes,
in
and
the
that was right about
14-ish.
that was right about when Trump introduced the tariffs. Everybody got nervous, and all the indexes tanked.
It was
So
very
let's-
volatile for
yes.
a week or two.
Let's frame this a little bit, all right? So,
Okay.
so you guys are both retired. You've got retirement income coming in besides
403Bs.
right. But in addition to that, though, you have additional income that you make from
retirement.
No, I was gonna say like
Pensions, eBay.
yes.
Well, we don't make that much anymore. We haven't been doing a lot of listing on that. So.
I'm just more pointing out. Okay, these are the sources of your income, right? That you would in turn be using to purchase into.
We don't purchase anymore.
You don't purchase anymore.
No. We only
that was during our
employment, we were able to contribute a percentage of our pay to a retirement account. Once you retire, the only way to put money into that is from another retirement account.
Okay.
So I would have to get like a Roth IRA, let that do what it does, then transfer that. But we can't directly deposit money into it anymore.
Okay, but so the recommendations that you're making are to people that are yet to be retired that need to contribute to these things.
The
correct?
recommendations we did make, yes.
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 Well, and are continuing to make.
It would be a little different now because since we talked about it, the market, like Art was saying, I think it was 13,500, 14,000 NASDAQ.
Yeah.
And now it's up to almost 21,000
Okay.
in that vicinity.
But still, regardless of where the market is at any
right,
moment,
right.
it's
You should
still my
always-
advice would be the same.
Okay.
Yes.
You should be contributing as much as you can without negatively impacting your life right now.
Yes, as much as you can.
And not be afraid of volatility in the market.
Right.
Because if you own 10 shares of something and the value drops in half, you still own the same 10 shares. And that is going to come back in the next few years at most.
Right. And that's where people get really nervous. They see a little dip, even though they're 15 years from even withdrawing or taking or using that money, they get nervous and start moving money around. That's the worst thing you can do.
So what you're really, because I'm trying to translate this for the middle class / younger people that aren't necessarily considering this.
Sure
When
middle
you're
class.
working,
You're more than middle class.
when you're actively contributing to it and you're working, you're younger, you should almost invite dips in the market because then you are purchasing those shares of whatever you're contributing to at a lower price. So when that stock or what do you call it?
Goes up.
Rises,
Fund, if you're in a fund,
which is a lot easier than buying individual stocks.
when those come back up to where they were originally, you're going to be making a lot of money on that.
Yes.
Anything you buy cheaper. So you should not be afraid of dips in the market. You're
Not at all.
looking, especially if you're looking 10, 15, or 20 years down the road.
You should almost want them.
Yes.
Like when the market tanked in 2008, we were buying at very low levels, and that money now is worth significantly more.
At least twice during my career, the market lost half its value.
But
my,
these
my
2001 and
mutual funds
2008.
lost half their
These sound
value.
like two different things though, because you being retired, you just said you can't contribute further, but you can still,
let
as
me-
a citizen, buy stocks.
Yes, of course. You can buy mutual funds, you can buy stocks, you can buy anything you want. I would personally feel more comfortable with funds just because they're not as
Well,
volatile as
these
individual stocks.
403Bs and 401Ks,
401Ks.
those are you're buying mutual funds.
Right. Now, the thing we can do is I think we talked about it last time, the stable fund, which is basically a very low risk kind of savings account, but the market affects it very little.
Okay.
So when we have money in that and the market tanks, this is what we did. We took money out of that safe fund and put it back in the market.
So you
So
bought
it
we're
is
stocks.
buying
a
stocks
small
very
way of
low,
still
and so
investing.
we left it there until now. And now that money that we took out is worth probably double
Okay.
because of the way the market reacted from when we took it out to where it is now.
Okay.
So yeah, don't be afraid of dips. Don't be afraid when the market crashes, especially if you're working. If you're retired, that changes a little bit, especially if you rely on that income. But
And your
currently,
tolerance from risk
Right.
has something to do with it. If you're very nervous,
if you have 15 years to go, don't worry about anything.
but
I know you can say you're nervous, but realistically, you don't have to worry about anything the market's doing. All your only job in life is to throw as much money as you're comfortable with at that market.
Okay.
Period. And do not be in anything low risk.
And if you're young and you are a little nervous and you have a lot of them have the dated funds that you can do where it's just like for 2055 is your retirement
I don't know
date.
how 401ks are with that, but 403bs we
But
have that.
those are generally more aggressive when you're younger and they'll start getting a little more
Yeah, the fund
conservative
managers,
as they age.
the fund managers manage your risk based on how far you have to go before you start using it.
Okay.
So you just put it in like the 2060 fund because that's when you plan on retiring. And then they, like Art was just saying, you're high risk at the beginning and lower risk at the end. I like doing it myself personally.
So do I.
And I think a lot of the stuff they did tell us, I don't agree with, like that one dude from Deferred Comp. He was like, towards the end, you want to pull everything out of the high risk. I disagree with that. I would rather keep it like half of my balance in the high risk because then that's what's going to make the most money.
Well,
Yes.
and 30, 40 years ago, they used to tell everybody to take everything out of the market
Yeah,
by
which
then.
was
So you would
crazy,
be,
yes.
so you'd take everything out so you had no risk anymore and all your money was your money.
Right.
But
right.
now
doesn't-
they
you're not
do
making
sug-
anymore.
I think any financial advisor would say keep your money working for
Don't
you.
massive pullouts in the markets signal, sometimes weakness in the market, and then they dip as a result.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, if people start pulling all their money out of the market, yeah.
yeah.
But when people start doing that and then it dips, like we were saying, that's when it's time for you to put your money back in the market.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be worried about it. And like I said, we're like, could we be considered life coaches? Maybe do you have to have a degree for that or anything?
I might call you a guru.
Oh shoot, I'm gonna add that.
And an influencer.
I just added social media influencer to my Facebook profile as my occupation.
feel
Some people are very irritated by this.
I think that's sort of like a
I can guess
nickname.
one of them,
You
or
can't
two.
you can't come up with that yourself. Somebody else needs to tell you that.
Or would a social media influencer do it themselves?
I don't know. I mean, didn't you
I'm just
just
saying.
get didn't
He
you
might
just
be
get done?
influencing people right now. Just
Didn't you
by
just
saying
get done
that.
in another segment talking about how you didn't like how somebody acted entitled for no reason?
But there is a reason.
What's the reason?
We're influencing people to make more money.
Well, what if this?
We're doing it on social media, so I'm putting
What
the two
if
together.
the person that you talked about like that in the last segment felt that way too?
I don't really know what you're saying anymore.
Oh, you were describing Ironheart as an unlikable character because she was very like
Terrible.
in your face, entitled.
Yeah, but we do that in jest. We do that for good fun.
Good.
Yeah, I think. I don't think we take anything we say seriously, except for your investments.
Yeah.
Take it seriously, people,
And your influence.
and the influencing.
I
of
would
said
I would
investments.
tell you that because these guys have lived it and because they're reaping the benefits of it now, they definitely have some knowledge to speak to. There's also nothing wrong with speaking to somebody whose job it is to do this, and then you make your
Absolutely.
then you
should-
make
you
your
should have a
own
financial
decision.
advisor, yes.
You make your own decision based on pooling all the information.
Everybody that's investing should have some kind of financial advisor just to guide them in the right direction. Don't only listen to us, even though, if you're going to listen to somebody, it might as well be us. I think we've helped a lot of people through our career. I've set up a lot of deferred
people that
comp
we
accounts.
worked with.
A lot of people we work with, they bring me their paperwork, and I would just do the whole thing for them. Set it up, here you go. And some of them are doing pretty well for themselves.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Some of them went from zero, and now they're very comfortable with what
Now they have
have
a
in
lot of chutzpah.
because honestly, it is really easy when you get into it. People get so nervous and they make too much of it. If you have a 401k or a 403b, all you have to worry about is throwing money at it. Period.
Okay.
Have it in the right funds and throw money at it for your entire career. By the end of your career, you're going to be very grateful you did that.
Okay.
That is a good way to build wealth in this country.
All right. Well, I think that was our stock and retirement update here from Steve and Art, and I'm just here to push the questions a little bit.
He's a good question pusher. Very good
I'd
question
rather
pusher.
be a food pusher, but
Well done.
At least, no, never mind. I'm not going to bust your
I know-
chops about
I know
doing your
exactly
homework
where you were
again. I'm
going.
not going to bust your
Yeah.
chops in it. I've busted your chops all day. I feel a little bad now.
all right.
All right.
All right, we'll see you guys next segment. Whenever that may be. Thank you for watching Two Studs and a Dud. Please like, subscribe, and share this video.